So this is my combat tracker for D&D 5e systems, but it can also just act as a basic initiative tracker if that's kind of what you're into, because all you really need is health and initiative. So I'll show you how this works. Bottom, there's these two tabs. We're going to go on over to the master first. What I like to do is add my players at the top, because they'll always be in every encounter, and the way the lists are organized, it goes from top to bottom. We'll add a guy. So if I come on down here, we will do Big Ugly Goblin. He's really easy to hit because he's big and ugly. So we'll add an 8. For the hit, we'll do an equals. You can either type A1 or just click the A1 cell up here because this is the dice roll. And then push F4 to add these little dollar signs. This makes it absolute. So if I was to copy and paste this goblin further down, let's say 10 rows down, this would be referencing 10 rows down if these dollar signs weren't here. So having them here just makes it so you can copy and paste, make it easy breezy. And then you'd add a modifier. So you can either, normally that's an addition. In our case, it's actually a minus because he's wielding a tree. For damage equals rand between 1 and 12 for us, because that will act as a 1d12. That's the range of what he can roll. Plus, and an 8. And then for health, he has 80 health. Now for damage, rules is written, all you gotta do is roll twice. You copy and paste your formula here. And if you roll a critical, it'll just auto-add these two numbers. The way we do it at my table, though, is we take max damage plus a roll, so 12 plus 8 is 20. So I just dump that in. And if you're the type of guy to really prepare for a thing, you can make multiple guys real quick, add their numbers, and the only thing that's important is if you're going to do this, make sure they all have a unique ID. So usually just a number after them won't be good enough. And then you can add their health. And I can name this the forest encounter. On this left side here, this is basically just notes. None of this gets pulled. And everything here, this will take care of basically the bread and butter of combat, because you have unit, how hard they are to hit, what they roll, the damage they give, and how much health they have. So let's say, though, the Big Ugly Goblin has the ability to grapple. You can put all the notes of what a guy can do on the side, and that way, you know, we're in combat, it comes to the guy's turn, and I'm like, okay, what can he do other than just hit? And then, oh, he can grapple, that's right, so I can do this. And if you wanted to be really fancy, what you can do, equal concatenate, grapple, comma, we'll do a sum, and then A1, or you can click it, push F4, plus whatever their modifier was. So in our case, it was 4, and hit enter. Now, whenever you click a check mark or whatever to refresh the page, you'll automatically be able to tell, you know, what the DC is that the players have to overcome in order to beat the grapple. So just makes it really easy. And I will show you another way you can use this sheet. So this is an example of a single enemy type that might have multiple weapons or like magical abilities. So you could have the melee, which in this case is he has a +4 to attack, and then he does his damage and blah 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 blah. Right? You roll these, it just works. For his magic, though, you'll notice this number doesn't change, because this would act basically as the spell DC that players have to roll to overcome, right? Like their saving throw. And if they fail, then 2d12 damage, baby, +4. But yeah, so past that, I just wanted to show this to be like, if you had multiple weapons that a guy does, this is how you'd kind of set it up. You'd want these the number of health to remain the same, this to be the same, and I'd organize it by enemy type, and then which one it is. So if I had multiple liches, I could just change that number. And that's everything. But I don't care about this, so we're just going to keep it simple. Going on over to the tracker, we'll add everyone real quick. Okay, and then I added this little skeleton archer because, you know, who doesn't like a skeleton? Now over here in the initiative, we'll go from top to bottom, just basically dump in the respective initiatives for everyone that's there. Okay, so initiatives are rolled. To organize this now, just come on up here to the A column, click this little down button, sort sheet Z to A, and boom, just like that, we now have everyone that we want in initiative all set up and ready to go. So let's say player 1 wants to get rid of this archer nice and early, so he attacks him twice, and let's say he does 9 damage and then 7 damage. You'll notice it automatically makes him red, so it's just nice and easy to, recognize when people are dead. You can go all the way down to Z if you want, or if you want to make this a little cleaner, which I like to do, you can delete these and then do 9,7. The comma is the separator. Hit enter, and it will automatically add that all together to do the exact same thing as before. But now what you can do is would act as a very basic version of a combat tracker. So you can right click, insert note, player 1 did this damage, and that's it. And I'm just going to delete this because I don't actually want this. But you can, the thing that's going to be really nice about this is instead of players being like, okay, I'm adding it all up in my head, and they're there for like a minute or 2 minutes trying to make your life easy, and then they're like, okay, I did 31 damage. Instead, you can just be like, hey, man, just tell me what you roll and what you add. They could literally be like, okay, I rolled a 7, and then I add 3, right? And then I rolled a 5 or something, right? And all these numbers will just get added. It doesn't matter what they roll. It's just going to make it nice and quick. So, yeah. And let's just pretend we go all the way down. So now it's the big ugly goblin's turn. Let's say he rolls a natural 20. You'll notice it turns green, signifying that you just got a natural success. And it automatically calculates our damage, because before the big ugly goblin would max out at 20 damage. But we've done 20 plus a roll, so he probably rolled a 14 here. Let's say he rolls 14 on this guy, player 2. Right. Going back to the top of initiative now. Let me just put this back. So yeah, back at the top of initiative, let's say player 1 wants to heal player 2. You can do this really simply by putting a negative number. So negative, let's say he heals him for 15. And then you put that in, and it will just add these numbers up and take effect here. And Goblin 3, let's just say he hits him a couple times. He's like, oh, I did you for 12 and 15, and oh no, player 2's down. What a shame. Now let's say this isn't enough. These 29 tokens aren't enough. All you got to do is come down here, and you can add as many as you want. So we'll add 10 more rows, and easy peasy. You'll notice, though, if I try and add, say, a big ugly goblin down here, because another one entered the fray, he has no numbers. And that's because this only pulls down these drop-downs, but not the formulas. This is really easy to do. Because these are all just referencing what's beside it, you can grab this and just click and drag it down. Now, I did this in a really silly way, but I just wanted to show that it doesn't really matter how you grab this, it'll work. However, if let's say I populated this with an 8 and this with a 3, I would still try and make sure you're only in health, damage, hit, and AC columns, because coming down, now it's trying to populate it with what it thinks should be here. So that's kind of the only problem with that. But yeah, it's easy enough to do. And then combat just goes until it resolves itself. And that's pretty much that. So let's say you want to clean this. The only thing that's important is that we avoid these columns from health to AC, because these are all formulas. So you can grab all your damage, hit delete, grab from name to initiative, hit delete. Now we're ready for the next time that we want to use this.